Hey, what's up everyone? Tim here from Everyday Tactical Vids. Today we're looking at the new XT2CR Pro from Klarus. This is I would call mid-sized, maybe medium, EDC flashlight, USB-C rechargeable, lots of features and functionality. It's got two different settings. It's got an SOS, a strobe, so lots of different functionality I think that you'll like. Let's jump in here and talk about what you get with the light. So you do get a holster here, and I'll show you what the flashlight looks like that in a minute. Obviously you're going to get some basic instructions. You get your USB-C cord. You get a little bag here that has some extra O-rings and your lanyard as well. You also get a 3100 milliamp battery. This is an 18650. And then of course you're gonna get the actual flashlight. So let's just talk through the features of the flashlight. First, you can see your USB-C port there. Basically just pop this little rubber cover up. There's your USB-C, which is great. More and more companies are moving to USB-C for flashlight recharging, which is awesome. It does have a pocket clip. You can see that's how much is going to be sticking out of your pocket. So it's not super deep, but enough to get a good purchase on the light when you're taking it out of your pocket. On the back there, you can see your interface. You got this pressure switch and then what I call a paddle. Now the pressure switch is going to turn the light on and off, and then depending on how you had this set up, the paddle is going to turn on different features and functions. So right now it's set up in the strobe option, so strobe warning. So you can see, we'll talk through the details of that in a second, but you got your power and then kind of your selector switch all there on the end, so you're not pressing here and then having it press up here on the side to turn the flashlight onto its different settings. We do have the bezel, a little bit aggressive, not super aggressive, but just to show you that. You will see here, yeah, right there, it's very small, but it says hot. And when I was testing this light out at night, I actually was holding it like this against my sweatshirt, and my sweatshirt sleeve was hanging down, and it actually started to smoke pretty quickly. So it was starting to smolder on my sweatshirt. So be careful, because it definitely does put out a pretty large amount of heat. What would I compare this to? It's about the size, a little bit smaller, but around the size of like a Warrior Pro from Olight. It's also around the size of like a Phoenix PD35, both the old one and the new one. A little bit smaller, a little bit more compact. Maybe the Through Night, I think it's the TC12, a little bit smaller than the TC20 if I remember correctly. Here's what it looks like in hand. One thing I try to do is basically line, you can see the button, the paddle, and then the clip up like that, so that when I put it in my hand, I've got the clip kind of resting against the inside of my palm there, and then turn it on, and then strobe warning again here. You know, I can kind of easily activate it the way that I could feel it locked in. If you hold it in a strange way, you're trying to kind of hit the pressure switch and then push your hand even like kind of up higher. So generally I like to have the pressure switch up top, on the higher part, and then the paddle on the lower section, so I can activate it like that. As far as your dimensions, 1.1 inches by 1 inch by 5.04 inches long. It's got a Cree XHP35 HD LED in there. As you saw, it runs off an 18650 battery. It is IPX8 rated, so good down to 2 meters. They listed the weight without the battery, which I think is relatively pointless, honestly. But just so you know, 4.9 ounces without the battery. Let's talk through outputs now. So it's gonna go 10, 100, 400, 2100. Those are your 4 outputs. Now the 2100 is gonna drop down to 750 after the light runs for a little bit and basically gets hot enough that it's gotta drop down so it doesn't fry all the internal circuitry. So let me just give you the burn times here. We've got 10 lumens for 150 hours. We have 100 lumens for 11 hours, 400 lumens for 4 hours, and then your 2100 is going to run for 2 minutes and then drop down to 750 for 2 hours. Your strobe is 2100, that's for 4 hours, and your SOS is 100, and that's for 33 hours. All right, so you have 2 different settings for this light. The way you're going to switch between the 2 different settings is, I'm going to find this tiny little light here, but right next to your USB-C there's a tiny little light there. So you're going to hold the mode button down for 5 seconds when it's off, and then after 5 seconds you're going to click your main power switch or your main selector switch. So right now I've got it in the outdoor setting, so when I press the mode switch, you're going to see it's going to come on at that very low setting. Click it on with the power switch and it's going to cycle down. So high, down to low, back up to high, down to low. Okay, turn it off. Now I'm going to hold down the mode selector switch 1, you can see a little green light, 2, 3, 4, 5, you'll see it flash. Now I'm going to press the power button and then release the mode switch, and now let go and then turn it off. Okay, now it's going to be in the tactical settings. So when I press this, it's going to go to strobe, so strobe warning. So there's that. Now when I turn it on, I'm going to cycle through and it's going to drop down through the same settings, so high down to low, but with the strobe option, as opposed to, now let me go back, hold down mode, so strobe warning here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you can see the green light, it's flashing red and green now. Mode, or power, release the mode, now turn it off, it's going to be back in the outdoor setting. Now that it's in the outdoor setting, I'm going to turn it on and then hold down the mode selector for 3 seconds and it will go to SOS. So your outdoor setting is with SOS and your tactical setting is with the strobe. Now I'll turn this off here. Now the other thing worth noting is that when it's in that outdoor setting, I can press and hold the mode switch for maybe like 2 seconds and it's going to come on and then lock on at that lowest setting. And now when I hit the mode, it's going to scroll up as far as the outputs, right? If I turn it off and then turn it on with the power main selector switch, it's going to cycle down. And so let's put it on the 3rd setting. You can see it's on there, the 3rd from the top. So that's down to 100 lumens, I believe it is. Yeah, 100. Now let's turn it off. Wait a couple seconds here. Turn it back on. So from what I can see so far, no memory function. It's always going to come on at that highest output, that 2100, and work down. Or if you're pressing the mode switch in the outdoor setting, it'll come on at that lowest setting and then work up. So that's what that's like. Couple details here. Got to find that little light. So that's where your little light is. When it's red when you're charging, it means it's charging. When it's green, it's fully charged. If it's yellow, it means you got a battery issue. Maybe the battery's dead, broken. Not dead as in low power, but like it's just a shot battery. Or maybe the connection is not properly set up. They say they do have a lockout feature. The lockout feature is basically turn the end cap a quarter turn so the connection can't happen. So I guess it's a simple enough way to lock it out. So one of the features to talk about is your battery power indicator. It is going to be right above my finger here. Turn it on and that little green light comes on and then you'll see it go off after 5 seconds. So that's going to indicate how much battery power you have left in the light. So I'll just read you those numbers here. So green is 70 to 100% capacity. Orange is 30 to 70 capacity, red is less than 30, and red flashing is less than 10% capacity left. So that's a rundown of all the features, lots of functionality, lots of different settings and outputs. I've already taken this out into the night and shot some footage and used it. So let me roll that footage in now and then we'll come back and I'll offer you some thoughts on the light. All right guys, I'm out here in the woods. There's a sign on a tree which is about 125 feet away. So we're gonna start off with a low setting and shine it out there and then we'll work up to the turbo setting. So I'm shining it over at the sign right now. Can't really pick up anything on the camera. I could see it, I mean, fine, not great, but I could see it fine with the human eye just to show you on the ground here. So that's on your low setting, 10 lumens. All right, we're gonna go up to medium now, looking at that sign again, 125 feet away. This is 100 lumens, medium. So you can start to see that reflection coming back to us. And when I'm shining it down the middle of the road here, you can definitely see the road. And I can see probably, I would say 10 feet off into the woods on either side. You can see that tree, which is about 20 feet away. Some trees over there. I'll look back at my car here. So this is 100 lumens here. All right, here's 400 lumens. You definitely see that sign much more effectively now. And getting a lot of nice, I mean, it's really a nice balance. You got a little bit of a hotter center, but definitely a nice balance of light. I can see the entire road quite well. And off into the woods on both sides. All right, we're gonna go up to our turbo now, which is 2100 lumens, looking at that sign. So there you go. I mean, definitely lighten up the road. I can see down this, up this little hill I'm on, down the next hill, and up to the second hill there in the distance. Can't really pick that second hill up as much on the camera, but definitely throwing some nice light down the road. And I would say, 75, 100 yards easy. And looking back over here at the sign again. Really nice balance on this light, I would say. Really nice balance. All right, so I'm driving along with the backwoods here, and I see two little reflections up in the tree. See if you can spot the raccoon up in the little crook of this tree up ahead of me. See those two little eyes staring down at us? I saw him scampering up the tree. Now he's hanging out, checking us out. Alright guys, I'm in my house now. We just moved to a new place, so it's a bit chaotic. But I'm going to walk around the downstairs here at the different settings. So we'll start at that lowest setting, 10 lumens. So you can see around the downstairs here. Let's go up to 100. All right, let's go up to 400. Now, if somebody was coming through the entryway around the corner, definitely light them up and knock out their night vision with this level of light. All right, turbo. All right, let's test out strobe inside. So strobe warning. Definitely quite disorienting. And you can actually see it does the fast flash and then the slower flash, which I did not notice that out in the woods. It's definitely a nice feature. All right, so there's a look at the light in use at night. Let me give you some thoughts here. First off, very balanced light. It's not a burning hot center. It's not just a flood. It's kind of balanced in between those two, which is nice. 18650 I like as a battery. A little bit more manageable as far as size compared to I think it's the 21700. It's just a little bit beefier. I like the size. The paddle and power switch thing on the end there takes a little bit of getting used to. I still do like that more than the little side switch that you got to basically press on like some O lights and some through nights. I just think having it all operating down here on the end is the best way to set it up. I would like to see that run a little bit deeper as far as the pocket clip, but not a total deal breaker for me. Functionality and durability, I can't speak to this one long term, but Klarus in general has been a really good company to work with, and I've liked their lights. I haven't had any major fails with their lights over the years. USB-C, that's a win. Just the size of it overall. For me, I like this as the size for an EDC flashlight. This is pretty much right around the ideal size for me when it comes to an everyday carry flashlight, unless I'm wearing like dress pants and I want to have something that's a little bit more slick and compact. I remembered that before I was going to show you what this looked like in the actual sheath or holster. So that's what that looks like. Hook and loop on the front. Close it down. You do have a D-ring on the back there, and then you have a combination of, let me see if I can pry this up here, a stitched in section to run your belt through, and then also hook and loop or Velcro that you can attach this to gear. So I've got links to this light down below in the description section if you want to check it out or pick it up. Your price point is right around 75 bucks, which I think is very reasonable for your functionality. If this thing was 95 bucks, I would say, okay, maybe a little bit more than what I would want to pay, but still a very reasonable price. So 75 bucks. I think it's going to be a long-term investment, and it's going to function well as an emergency light, EDC light, you know, car light, lots of different ways you could set this guy up. So yeah, I mean, one thing about Klarus is that I think their products, as far as their build, have been excellent in my experience. They're kind of like, if you got tons of bells and whistles on lights, it's got all sort of knurling and angles and stuff. That's like at the far end, and then you got super basic. They're like right in the middle. They're not like super fancy, but they're not like totally boring. They got a little bit of a like kind of knurling moving toward the top of the bezel there. Yeah, anyhow, I mean, I've liked their lights, and this one I think could be a really good investment for you. XT2CR Pro from Klarus. Let's hear your thoughts and your feedback. Have you used Klarus lights? Have you used this light? Let's get that conversation started in the comment section now. All right, thanks as always for checking out the videos here on YouTube. Please subscribe to Everyday Tactical Vids if you haven't done so already. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, check us out on Instagram, Tumblr, and Vero as well. More videos coming soon. Take care.